at? I don't see mine. Where's Maya? I know he had a picture of his. You got it all sewed up? Okay, you end up getting your, did you get your packet? Yeah, there we go. So I did have packets for some of the youth to, or the participants to use, but I'm where Maya is. So what we did is we just cut out, to make these, all we did was, this was the pattern. That's all it is. And the way I got this pattern is I just used my hand. So I used from my pointer finger to my thumb. And I just put it on there. So if you can see, it's about that. And I kind of used this shape here. Right here, this part, but I moved it up, you know, to make it where it's going to be a ball. But you don't have to do that. The way they use these, you know, people made their own instruments, I would say, or, you know, their own ball, because, you know, they wanted to win. So this is the one they would use when they made this. They studied it. They looked how it rolls, what it did when you hit it with the shinny stick. This is how they would go out and do competition, you know, like I said before, like maybe there's a big bull elk over there, you know, there's 2 tribes, you know, we're not going to go fight and kill everybody off for that one bull elk, you know, we're going to say, well, let's play this game. Whoever wins this game can have that bull elk or go take their kill first. So that's kind of what we use these games for. So, you know, you can make this ball. This is just a basic pattern, you know, this is today, but you know, you can make it anyway. You can make it fat on this end and skinny on this end. And when it would, if you ever seen a football bounce on the ground, you know, you see these, it's shaped weird and it goes different ways. So that's the same thing that they would try to do with these, you know, they would make them where they can control them, you know, just the characteristics of it. It's, you know, just like anything, you own something and you use it for a long time. So maybe even a mechanical pencil, you know how to work it. Maybe your lead ain't coming out, but you know how to make that lead come out, you know, and make it work and write whatever you're gonna write. It's the same kind of instrument to win. So all I did, we cut out 4. We cut 4 pieces out. We just stitched them together. Stitched these 2 together. Then we stitched these 2 together. Then we went one side and we put them together. So that's all it is. It's a 4. You can see it, but we left, it's just like anything when you're sewing. All you sewers that are in here now or waiting for that sewing class, we left a hole so we could turn it inside out. So I'm just going to start turning this inside out. I think you already have yours inside out, I'm pretty sure.
What's it made out of, Ray?
You could use whatever you have. You know, you had all kinds of leathers, whatever leather you had. That was the thing, you know, you made it to your specifications. There wasn't just one way to do this, you know, you made it to where it would probably give you an edge in the game, you know, because at the beginning, just like stick game, I don't know if you guys ever played stick game, but each team captain comes with their own sticks, their own set of sticks. Maybe they made them, maybe they prayed over them, maybe they, you know, they to them, these sticks are winners, you know, that's what you're going to use to win whatever you're betting. So before stick game starts, 2 captains come together with their each set of sticks. They have to play a game to start this game. So they'll guess each other. And if whoever wins that, they're going to choose what sticks to play with. And, you know, if I won, I would never choose the opponent's sticks to play with. I would say, nope, we're using mine. Because, you know, this is who I'm going down with. This is who I'm going to win with. So, you know, you could just make it any way you want. This one here is just made up. I had some canvas laying around, so that's what I used. So that's all this is. You know, we had some in our native games kit. They're made out of leather. They're really nice. So that's it, turned inside out. I know Mai's probably here. So one thing, you want to give it weight. Sometimes you want to weight it from down, or, you know, it's up to you. Like I said, you're the one that's going to use it. So we're gonna move on to this, how to weight it down. So what I have is just your basic sand. I think this was just in one of those sands that you get like a Ace. You throw it in the back of your truck to make weight. So we just busted it open and we used it. You can just buy sand in a balloon. You know, a long time ago they probably used a bladder. You know, use just wet rawhide, let it soak, and then put maybe a rock in there or filled it with sand and, you know, stitched it up to where it's not gonna let all the weight out. But nowadays we do it easy way. So I have this handy dandy funnel. Just gonna stick it right in the balloon. Take this cup, some of the sand. All you want to really do, I do, is just fill up the round part of the balloon. So we're just sometimes the funnel gets clogged up. Oh. That'll clean it up later.
Ray, could you use rice?
Yeah, rice would be weird. You know, what I used in the schools is I went and got, because I couldn't find any gravel, I went and got birdseed. Yeah, it's lighter as well, but it worked. I used it for my double balls and as well as these shinny balls. So this one I'm kind of getting, it's kind of stuck together, so I'm gonna give it a little bit of air. So I just aired it up a little bit to, it's not actually sucking this. There we go.
Sometimes too, you kind of have to work it in there.
Yeah, that's kind of why we use the funnel, so you can kind of push it down. It is messy. So I just gotta give it some air and push it down. Make this long. Let the air out. That's all it is. I left it loose, so in case it gets hit, it has room to push the sand around, and it's not gonna break my balloon. So I kind of just, then I'm just gonna tie a knot in it. I think I already did yours, so you should already have a balloon filled, a weight. Falling apart here. This is my new selfie stick. Okay, so we have our weight. Let me brace it up here. Okay, we have our weight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stuff that weight inside the hole. So you might have to, if you sewed it up too much, you just have to tear it a little bit and get it in there. You know, when these were made too, they were you know, they were decorated. You know, they might have painted them. They could have added beads. They could have, you know, added a little bit of animal hoof, animal, you know, antler, you know, different things that would give you power, you know. You know, I wouldn't know about a feather because they'd probably break pretty easily. So, but now I get the weight inside there. So that the next part is, you know, this is pretty hard to come by. I think we got all this up at up in Moise area there at the buffalo range. So that's what we're gonna stuff it with, is this buffalo hair. So we use this buffalo hair for a lot of things, you know, for, you know, just like we use blankets and stuff today. So for this, we're just going to use it for this. I'm not sure how much hair we gave you there, but just use what you got and stuff it in there. If you feel like it's not up to your liking, just stuff some cloth in there or anything to fill that. And your weight's gonna sit on the bottom, so you kind of want to get behind it. But it's up to you. Like I said, you know, people made them to their own specifications, and that weight was just in there. You could put it at one side, and guess where it'll always roll on that one side. It'll sit there. You know, say the weight's on the bottom, it's gonna sit there all the time. Maybe you're the only one that knows that. You know, when you start playing somebody, it's like, oh, it's gonna sit there, so you know where it's gonna be, so you know where to hit it with your stick. So I'm just gonna continue stuffing. So if you kind of look at it, it's kind of turning into some kind of spear, some kind of bocon. That's what we say in Picani is a ball, bocon. So the thing about this buffalo hair too, it's not really, you know, it's not really that thick. It'll smush into a lot of things, so you might end up using a lot of it. That's why I kind of like to use just fabric that I have left over and stuff. And it's up to you how, if you want it real tight or real heavy, or you just got to remember that you got to hit it with a ball. And you know, when the shinny game was played, it really didn't have a boundaries. You could just play for, you know, like I said, you know, you had two captains that came together to distinguish who's going to play. Is the women going to play, or is the men going to play? Is it going to be mixed? Where's the goals? You know, say a goal's way over on by the M, the other goal's up at the L. So what if you had to play that way? You know, these are things that are established as, you know, as rules when you start to play these games. So like I said, maybe you don't just have one. You have all kinds for different ways of playing. But that's the good thing about these games is you learn how things are going to react when you start doing it. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to sew this together. So I'm going to try to get those fringes in there. It's not going to be, you know, a machine looking sew. So I do have my thread, my needle. It's about an arm length thread, double. I'm just going to tie a knot in there. That's all I usually do is tie a few knots just so it's bigger, that it'll stick anyway. Anybody got any questions up to this point? So when I stitch it, I'm just going to go round and round and round and round and kind of work my way left. So each stitch, I'm just going to move over maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. So while I'm stitching this, as you can see, I'm just starting to go around. I'm just gonna make my way till it closes up. So I'm gonna play this little video while I'm stitching this. But if you guys have questions or anything, make sure you just let me know. And just work on it, and I will check with you as soon as I finish, and we'll see how far you are. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it too good, but
How did you stitch it?
so when you stitch your start, just go around and work your way to the other side. So see how I just kind of closed it? It doesn't have to be perfect like a machine or nothing. All you can do is go. It's just gonna be a round stitch. Just move over a little bit at a time. That way it closes it up nice. Did you see it?
Thank you.
Yep. So here's this video here while I'm stitching this up.
I think I can share my screen, Ray.
See if you can play it. I think I had it on your search.
Is this the one?
Yeah, go ahead and play that.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't think that's it.
Oh, okay.
Put traditional games, Blackfeet. So I don't know if any of you caught the last video that we showed a couple weeks ago. They just showed a lot of the basic games they're really easy to make, because these are base games to, the games that we see today, even basketball, shinny is a base game for like hockey and, floor hockey, golf even, all these games came from somewhere. If you look at a lot of our traditional games, you see them in today's games. Is that it?
Yeah, we'll just wait till you guys are done stitching.
No, go ahead, just play it because I still got about halfway to stitch.
Okay.
Then I'll just check with mine when it's only just play 10 minutes of it.
Okay.
Turn your volume up. I can't really hear the sound on my end. I think you can make your screen bigger. Yeah, you can't hear it.
Oh, that's as high as it goes.
Let's just play it on this. I think I could hear it better.
the reasoning behind run and scream is building up your vocal cords, building up your inner stamina. For the kids to be running and screaming at the same time is sort of like almost getting them ready for song. Really, you're only supposed to take one breath. You can run as far as you can, screaming at the top of your lungs. And once you're out of breath and you're done screaming, and you stop right there, and then that's when you mark your spot. So, and then the next person in line does the same thing. One breath, screams as loud as they could, and then once they're out of their breath, they stop. And it's just a basic, contest to see who goes the furthest and scream the loudest, I guess you could say. If you just want to do the game quickly, you can find a branch or break off some branches, whatever's available for you that day or in that area or circumstances, I guess you could say. One of the concepts for that game is just to let your inner negativity and your stress and everything that's balled up inside you, just let it go. It's a stress reliever. You could yell at the top of your lungs and nobody's going to tell you, hey, be quiet. Maybe the kid is frustrated about maybe their friends or something like that. They run along and screaming, and it makes them feel good.
When I make sticks, I cut them roughly about probably, I would say 5 to 6 inches. Using Sabbath berries, using choke cherries, willows. I really like working with willows because willows have a really great scent, right? I cut a stick about maybe 6 inches. I make one end sharp so it can stab in the ground. And then I put them roughly about 4 to 6 feet apart, right behind each other, 4 sticks. Then the participant stands roughly about maybe 6 to 8 feet back. So you use a ball in your stand. And the further you hit, the further stick you hit, the more points you get. So the closer stick to you, the less points you get. Now this ball can roll up to the stick or it can one bounce, however it may be, as long as you make that stick jump. I always put some pony beads at the end, or some type of beads or something that'll show that stick jump. You know what I mean? When I teach throwing games, I always make sure I point. Just like a baseball player, just like a pitcher, he always plays to his target. You step with your opposite foot, then you throw. I'm left-handed, so I always point with my right side. I step with my right foot, and then I throw, so I can have a follow-through, right? And you always come back to as far as you can. You don't just throw it just like this. You always give it your best, right? Come all the way back and point, and then throw.
Sing ball is a racing game. So you use a ball with a tail, and you place the tail between your feet, facing away from the direction you want to go, and then you roll backwards and throw your feet above your head, and release the tail of the ball, launching it behind you, and you repeat that process until you've completed the race. So the balls that we use here at the International Traditional Games Society are just hacky sacks that we've emptied and refilled with sand inside of a balloon, and then sewed a tail onto it. The tails that we use are braided yarn, about 8 inches long. Kids can find it difficult to get the tail of the ball firmly between their feet as they go backwards, and a lot of times they'll think they threw it really far, but they'll find that it's just on the ground at their feet. Just the initial rolling over, a lot of times they'll get really excited about it and go all the way over, and it's kind of surprising to them, but it's always fun to watch.
When I play hoop and arrow, again, I always space children out. If I have more than 12 kids, I double them up. I try to keep my groups as small as possible. If you have 20 kids, you partner them up, one kid behind each other, and they just switch every time, And when I usually teach kids to line up in a straight line, I tell them, okay, so when you line up, you put your hands out. And if your hands are touching, you're too close. You move over, so it spreads the kids out. So it gives one kid enough room to throw his arrow. Then, you would balance that arrow, because you always got to find the middle of that arrow. You balance it, then you would hold it. When you throw it, you want it to fly straight, right? So you would always balance it on your hand, then you would hold it like a pencil. And when I play hoop and arrow, I always tell kids, get as low as you can. And even if you want to get on one knee, you know, you get on one knee, you put the opposite knee up, so it'll give you better accuracy. You can throw a sidearm, if that's a lot better, or you can throw just straight over your shoulder, you know? And then when you stand out, one person stands at the end and he rolls that hoop right to the end.
Originally, this was one of the targets that the Salish people use. And what they do is they could throw it, and where the students fire into these different holes, and obviously this is a bullseye. So there's different pointing, and there's different ways. In the Blackfoot hoop and arrow game, it's about this size. And so the children would chase the little hoop. So instead of having rows of people shooting from either side as the hoop flies down the middle of them, they would have individual, where they would each have their own little hoop, and then firing with a longer arrow.
So we always have to play these games to actually build our skills, right? Build our skills so we can go out hunting, we can feed all our people, you know, we can protect our land, we can protect our animals, everything like that.
All right, is everybody still awake? Yeah. So here's my ball. Mai, how you doing?
The one thing that I liked about the video was
Cool. Yeah, keep going.
they like different types of, you know, willow or chokecherry. I like willow because you can just put it in the water and it lasts. So you could use one small tree and you can make all of these games. But if you keep it in the water, you'll be able to work on it over a course of 3 days.
So yeah, that's good. That like the willow it's very. If you use it, you can throw it in the water. You're not wasting anything, or you can replant it in just into the bank, and it'll take off and start growing right there, which is really good. And it's just it lets you use what you need, but then you can also give it right back, which is a good thing. My ball kind of came out. It's about 4x4. It's kind of heavy on one side. Keeps dropping to that'll work. It does have that weight in there, so you can kind of push that weight around, move it around a little bit. But this one, I'll give you this one too. I'll give it to your mom. Then you can kind of look at it, and if you have to, just break your stitch, and we'll give you some more buffalo hair, and you can make it just like this. But it's only about 4 inches round. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect roundness. It's got flaws. So that's the thing, though. We're gonna go harvest this shinny stick. Hopefully on the next time we meet. We'll just have to do that outdoors. We'll go give our offering to that willow. We're gonna use chokecherry. So we're gonna go find a good chokecherry tree where I could actually harvest one. So the reason we use
chokecherries.
You have chokecherries at your house?
Yeah.
Oh, you can just go right out. See, that's the good thing about these games is you don't even have to go to have a bunch of money. You don't have to go to Walmart and buy these things. You can make them, and they're fun to play. You get a bunch of people, when I bring them into the schools, these kids eat them up. That's all they want to do is just play. Let's play shinny. Let's play double ball. I just have some things on like that the chokecherry. you know, we used it for a lot of things. We didn't only use it for games, but we used, you know, the berries themselves. We used it for a pemmican, and, you know, that stuff was dried, mixed with meat, you know, different things. Just that held us through the winter. You know, we always wonder how we survived, and that was just these little things that we worked on during the summer to help us during that winter time. I'm just gonna kind of read what this has here on. This is from other tribes. It just says the Omaha and Ponca name is Nopa Shinga, meaning little cherry. The Pawnee called it Nahapi Nakaroots. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but I'm saying it like it's written, which means cherry tree, which translated in Lakota, the choke cherry is a kampahu, or bitter wood stem. The Blackfoot tribe calls the fruit Qua-Qui, meaning the berry, or sometimes Qua-Qui. That's pretty much what it is, which is translated, which means choke cherry. In Cheyenne, Manotes is the name they have for the choke cherry, and it means berries. The Crow, Flathead, Kiowa, Assiniboine, and Osage have the names Malupwa, Shasha, Shlasha, Opanaka, Champa, and Goompa, respectively. The translations of these names are all assumed to be choke cherry. So as you can see, there's a lot of tribes in these plains where this grew. It was used. It was widely used. You know, even the bark. You know, in our ceremony, the choke cherry is the tree is used for a lot of things. The choke cherry is actually the next class, as Chair said. Well, we use it in our ceremonies, you know, like our fork sticks, which we handle everything with. That is choke cherry. It's used widely in a lot of things, you know. So it's held as something you know, sacred, you know. Plus it's all over the place, so I can see why it's around. Anybody have any stories about choke cherries? Has anybody ever ate choke cherries? What do they do to your mouth? They're pretty dry, huh?
They're very tart.
Yeah, they're tart. You ever just take a big old bite, and then what's inside of them?
A seed.
There's a seed in them. That's what you got to kind of watch out for. Sometimes if you get some mixtures of pemmican, you know, you start eating some of that pemmican, and that seed's still in there. It's not really broken down all the way, and you might lose a tooth. That's why everybody's toothless now. No, but it you know, it has medicinal purposes for a lot of things. You know, we didn't just go and eat some. You know, we seen the animals, you know, using this plant. You know, also, you know, like Natusi is going to be telling us stories later. There's a lot of stories of you know, how Napi showed us these things. You know, they were given to us to use in these ways. You know, just games, medicines, food, different things throughout, you know, to help us survive, you know. And they were given, and that's why we're still here today, you know, and we still give thanks and all that today to use them. So back to Shinny. Has anybody, Maya, have you ever played Shinny? No? Dana, what happens with the Shinny sticks? Why would it be called Shinny?
Get whacked in the shins.
Your shins
Yeah,
get
I
hot.
don't know if you ever played, but it's like floor hockey. I don't know if you ever played floor hockey, and you know, these kids, they almost golf and chop. That's kind of the rules we set when we first start playing these games. We'll divide. We'll try to make even teams with the kids. You know, there's always alpha males, alpha female. You know, there's dominant kids. So, you know, we'll lay all the sticks out. You know, there's big ones, there's tiny ones, there's skinny ones, there's some with big heads, there's, you know, but those kids that are, that are dominant, they're like, I'm taking this big club, I'm taking this big stick, and I'm gonna rule this game. So we have them give them all their sticks, and okay, line up and face each other. So they're all in a line, face somebody, and they'll all, just kind of face each other, and okay, now take that stick and give it to that person across from you. And guess what happens? A lot of those dominant kids get stuck with a tiny, skinny stick because they think, because they grab something first, they're getting an upper hand. But there's always a way to equal things out, So that's the fun part of teaching these games. If you've seen some of the people on those videos, they I think they did this for a long time. They taught us, me and Dana, when we kind of went through these certification things. And a lot of them aren't there no more, but they were very knowledgeable. They had the songs that go to these things. And these are things that you just learn. Just like making that ball there, you're always gonna when you make something, you're not gonna let nobody just destroy it. You're always gonna, I made that, I'm gonna keep it good. I'm gonna keep it nice, So that was the thing with these games. They're when you make it, it kind of takes on your personality. You're giving it that touch to to kind of reflect yourself. So I think that's where a lot of these come from, whether they're the dolls, the run and scream stick. If you just listen to the presenters that were on that video, he had different things on his make the stick jump sticks that identified different things. There's probably things that means something to him. He's not going to talk about it, unless he wants to. But maybe he put something in there that reflects his family or cultural ways or tribe or stuff like that. But that's how we get into all that. Blackfeet designs, Cheyenne designs, stuff like that. It's representation. You're representing your people. Let's see. What was I gonna ask? Dana, is there anything else that I'm missing here on?
I wasn't even on mute. I really like the games. I agree with Ray that anything that I've ever made is in good shape. The craziest thing was we went out and got all these shinny sticks up on the flathead res, and now they're missing, so somebody must be using them. But we used them for about a good 6 years. And once when you pick the best stick, you have to give it up. You kind of don't pick the best one, kind of pick like a mid good one. And then the thing that I like about it is once the boys know that they can't push or do anything to the girls, I think it's really an eye-opener because it teaches us how to be gentlemen, and I don't know. I really like shinny.
Well, then there's also an opposite too, because you tell the girls, you can push those boys or whatever, and then it makes those women mean. No, it's just an equal thing. Makes things equal. Makes the game more interesting, because you get dominant players that just come in there and start dominating and scoring every goal. We'd like to have everybody score and make the experience good. That's kind of where these games go. Back to that choke cherry. It's used in these ceremonies, like I say. It's used in I think there's even like pipe stems and stuff. And like when that not too long ago, we all heard that big thunder and stuff. That's when these like holy people open their their medicine pipes, their thunder pipes, all that. They're open for a reason, that they they use these forks to during these ceremonies. But they're what they're asking for, when there's thunder, there's rain. That rain's coming. So what you're asking for in your prayers and stuff is when it rains, those berries become big and ripe, and that's what in your ceremonies, that berry, or you hold it in high regards to different things. It's going to be a good year when those berries are big, fat, and plump, and and there's an abundance of them. It's whether we use it or the animals use it. Everybody's gonna use it. Down to the insects. When they start drying up and you go look at those berries, guess what's all over them? There's ants, there's caterpillars. Love these things. You see big cocoons. And, caterpillars got to use it to change, and the animals use it. Everybody uses bears. There's probably bears up there right now, just sitting there watching them. For watching them getting ripe. Actually, we're gonna go up there and look at them too, and see if they're ripe. Go sit right by those bears. But that's what these like your tobacco and your ceremonies are done. For everybody, it's a renewal, just for everybody to have a good year. It's all these things have something to do. Like the guy was saying that, it teaches something. Just not only the getting that tree, but a long time ago this was made out of buffalo hide and stuff. Buffalo, deer, elk, whatever you had. That animal gave its life to let you play this game. From the buffalo hair, even earth, sakum, that's inside that balloon, the sand, the dirt. Sacred berry picking, my secret coulee. But yeah, there's just lessons to everything. These games, they might just seem like games, like Monopoly or something. Monopoly's actually really good. Teaches you how to use money, teaches you how to buy things, teaches you what could happen if you go into somebody's property with motels. You got to spend all your money. They teach something. That's the same thing with our games, but they're the basis of a lot of things that they were just built upon and built upon and built upon, and now you get the Kobe's, the LeBrons, you get the right there, Tom Brady. I don't know if you guys know who Tom Brady was. He used to be the quarterback for the Patriots. Now he's for the Tampa Bay Bucks. But one time during the Super Bowl, guess what he did? He flattened his football so he could throw it better. Just think of if you knew what this ball could do to help you get an advantage, that's what you can do to it. So same thing, it's cheating in their way, but in a basic game, that's kind of what you're trying to do, is get an edge. But it's also teaching you how to, make something that you can control. I guess that kind of goes with life too. You can make your life. You can control your life. You can make it what you want it to be. I really don't have much left on the shinny. We'll try to get to the stick. Hopefully the next video. I might not be here in Missoula, but I think I can get it recorded or even do it live where I'm at, because I'll be back home on the res, and I'm sure I can find a chokecherry tree there somewhere. But Mai, can you show us what was all in your kit? So we did send out a few kits. I didn't grab one. I should have grabbed one, but I had the stuff at home. But I did send them out. Ellen, if you guys want one, make sure you give us your address and we'll send one out. Just hold each item up. Okay, so that red felt there, that's for the rock in the fist. That'll be for the rock in the fist. That was a game that was talked about on the video. We'll turn it into a bag, and you'll see that'll be later on, one of the final classes there. Is that just yarn?
Yes, another stickball.
Yeah, I think it's just yarn. So yarn, you'll use a lot of yarn. That'll be for the tail of that kickball. Sinew, use sinew to sew things up. You could use yarn if you want. I think that's for the ring toss. So you have I just use those. That way we don't have to have the youth out there cutting things using sharp objects, and we'll just use the popsicle sticks for the rock and the fist. That is your scorecard for the what is that one called, Donna?
Plumstone.
Plumstone. There we go.
Plumstone.
You should have the plumstones. Yeah. So they're blank. So you don't have to use those same signs if you don't want. You can use a sign, any sign that you want, as long as it's if you look at that game, it's like Yahtzee. Did you guys ever play Yahtzee? Or the first version of Yahtzee. Was that it? Your balloon? Okay, yeah, that was for your ball. So you can use that one for if you make another one. That'll be your weight for your ball. You just put it inside there.
I found one in my buffalo hair bag.
Did you have buffalo hair? Oh yeah, you stuff that in your ball too. So if you want, you could just kind of open it up too, mine where you stitched it. Just go back and open it up. Then just stuff it. Stuff all the buffalo hair. You can stuff that weight in there. Looks good. That's all you need is something to hit around. But I'll give this one to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How many kits do you guys need, Alan?
2.
2? Okay, we'll send them in the mail tomorrow.
Can you say it in Cheyenne?
Say what?
2.
I don't remember. I'm Crow.
Oh, can you say it in Crow?
I forgot how to say it, but yeah.
All right.
The next one is going live on the red.
So here's kind of what the shinny stick will look like. If you can kind of see my. What does it look like? Does it look like a golf club? Hockey stick, maybe? Anybody?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were kind of like a golf stick, or the curve on them. You could have them curved anyway, but when we actually harvest these things, I think we seen it in our first video. You go to the choke cherry tree, it's sticking out, but you're gonna get under the root, all the way under the root, and that's where that bend comes from. That little bend, so you'll stick something underneath that and actually lift it up. Then you'll cut it that far down. That's where you get that little piece there, this little part here. So this is actually the part of the root. And then all it is you can whittle it, use a knife and shape it. You can whatever, put some aerodynamics on there, or something, put holes in it, put a handle on it. You can do what you want. It's all up to you.
What we did is we didn't use a choke cherry because it's a lot of effort. We just used like a pine tree branch, and where it kind of curves like you said, that's where we would cut it, and then we would just peel it while it was fresh.
You can do that too. There's also a lot of slash piles that are laying around. People clean up their yards and stuff, and there's a lot. It just looks like a golf club, really. That's all you need is something with a handle and something with a little bit of weight on it.
And then we used a sander.
Oh yeah.
Quick question, Ray. How thick
Yeah.
does the stick need to be necessarily? Because it doesn't look very thick in the photo that you just showed.
It's up to you. Whatever you harvest, you can go in there and put your hand on it, and if you can get your hand around it, you want to have a good grip on it. You don't want nothing too thin,
Right.
because you're gonna be, once you get into action, you're chopping away, and you don't want it to break.
Right. Okay.
If it breaks, you just have to go what's left in the pile, and usually there's little Harry Potter stick there or something, that's gonna break.
But the one thing is it's easier if it's fresh because you can peel it. Once it dries, you're gonna have that rough skin on it. Just as a heads up.
Well, let's watch a little bit more of this video. We'll see what the watch for some of those games that are listed on that bag, and see if they're on this video. We'll just watch a little bit more of it, and I think I got about 15 minutes.
Children and the students play the game one-on-one, and they look for this little rock. In the game, the students play for 3 sticks. So they would start off and they would hide.
That's rocking a fish.
It really allows you to hide cats or scarf, and then hide. And then this hand or this hand or this hand. So if you point at this one, and that's and pointed me this way, you would guess, and I wrong.
Oh, they're playing hand games.
Time that they don't get guessed, they get away, they would earn a stick until they win all 3 of them.
You're observing, you're paying attention to patterns, you're reading the person's body language. At the same time, you listen to
In these games, our children learn how to get along with each other. They learn how to read people and develop their communication skills. So it could either take a few minutes or up to, some of these games take hours.
On the smooth dirt or sand at the edge of the river, the kids would dig a hole in the sand in one place, and then about 20 feet down the river, another hole. And the idea of the Stonehouse game is that through the stone, and about as big as the palm of their hands would be placed in there and the idea was to take them to the home safely, one at a time. Oak toys were transported to their home one at a time. They had to be gently, exactly the same things that they started. And this was a reflection, we understood, of how the Plains people cared for their possessions as they took them from one place to the next. And home was not a home until everything was in its right place, and it was always answered respectfully, and it was always put into its proper place. So when you walked in, it was a complete home. It was so challenging. The kids and the adults couldn't read the stones that well. And if the stone is fairly round, they couldn't tell it was exactly the same position in the house. So we added pictographs from the region and sometimes the winter count. So they were learning other things, but it helped them visually place those stones in the right place.
And so what we're going to do is one person in your team of 3 is going to tell a story with the stones, and they're going to place them in a particular way, and it might be helpful if you think about the directions, north, east, south, and west. And the most important thing is we don't want to hear clicking of the rocks, banging of the rocks. Everything is sacred. And then another person is going to be the observer of the story and the placement of the rocks, and then the third person is the judge. They're watching the story be told, and they're watching the placement of the rocks, so it's really good observational skills. Once the person has told their story and has placed their rocks, then the person that's watching is going to move the teepee over here and move each rock and place it exactly where it was placed. And once all the rocks are placed, you're going to retell the story. The judge is going to be watching to make sure it was done correctly.
Anybody see that game?
Negative.
Rock one?
Yeah, that rock one.
I like the
I
rock one
played it.
because it teaches you how to be aware of your surroundings. So when you are out picking berries or doing things, that you are very aware of what's around you. And I like, I see Mary Ellen Little Mustache. She's Annie from Brockett. She's very knowledgeable in the games. And then Jeremy Red Eagle I used to work with him in tobacco prevention, and he started his own Indian boys lacrosse team in South Dakota. So very knowledgeable people.
Yeah, I think that story game is really cool because it helps you it helps your mind, just like walking into your house and you're the last one that left, and if something's missing or something's out of place, or I know I do. I just, who moved this? Stuff like that, and it just keeps you aware, it keeps your mind sharp. They're stories that are told, and it teaches you things, I guess. That's the thing with all these games. To really do them, it's just really good to have a group and actually be there. Like doing this it's really hard to, because when you see and actually do it, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this is pretty tough to just feel like it's you guys can't see this, but it just looks like I don't know. But it's pretty cool.
Good point, Ray, about the story things, because when you're at ceremony or when you're at your grandparents or your folks and they tell you like a creation story or a story about history about your family, you don't have a recorder. You just have your memory. So you have to remember what they tell you, because you might have to remember a song or to pass it on. So that's really a good point too.
Well, I think that's just like us, when we leave to go to work, and we got to tell these kids, I want this done, I want the oven closed, microwave clean, dishes done, and you come back and none of it's done. Did you hear me? Huh? It's just, it's that everyday thing, and I think, once they start listening though, it's awesome when they, you come home and you didn't even say nothing when you left, and things are done. That something's in there clicking, but that's when you do that. Oh, good job. A praise, and here, take this. Take this $5 and go buy candy bar. Something like that. So it's just cool to see things like, you know, that's how these games work. When we do these clinics and stuff, you know, there's always a lot of giving. You know, everything's, you know, I've even seen prized possessions. You know, these kids come in and a real awesome medallion or something shiny or beadwork, and you see somebody else walk away with it at the end. You know, that's pretty rare for even kids to, you know, acknowledge that, you know, maybe this individual is going through a tough time, or he tried his best the whole clinic, and, you know, maybe he didn't win anything, but, you know, they honored him in that way, you know. That's pretty cool. Ellen, you got anything over there from Cheyenne country?
Oh, hey. Whatchamacallit that real quick? Our interagency tribal government went through a testing today, and I think over 7 departments are closed now. I don't know if you're able to view that on Facebook, but they showed that there was 2 positive testings and 1 over in Bernie Village. Now there's over 19 plus in Lame Deer alone.
Oh.
Just today. 19 plus positive. So they shut down their wellness outreach, their recovery center outreach, transportation, tribal education, tribal work, and I think the commodity and the main